How long have you been known Sam?
I've known Sam for many years. We worked together in her dance company, Eclipse Dance Theater, many years ago, and then we ran into each other, and so we started working together again.
Are you also a student?
I was a student at CIS.
Mm-hmm.
I studied in synchronicity when I bumped into her there, and she said she was doing a piece that was addressing mental illness. And since I'm training to be a counselor, it felt very much something I was interested in being involved with.
Now, was there something personal within you, or like a friend or a relative, that had mental illness issues?
Yes, definitely. I've had some of my best friends have struggled with mental illness. One of my friends has bipolar, and she's struggled with that, and depression and suicide. And also, an extended family member had a sister that died of suicide. And I had a good friend that also OD'd, and so it was a kind of suicide. And that affected me a lot. And be a part of it and give us feedback, be a part of the process.
So, what do you think your own personal aims and goals with the performance piece? What do you hope to educate people about?
Um, just that this is something that affects everybody, and it's so prevalent. It's so everybody knows somebody who's been affected, and that oftentimes it's too late by the time it happens. And so I guess to just kind of increase our awareness of mental illness and suicide. And
I've been dancing since I was 3 years old. Um, I've continued to advance. I've loved it the whole time.
Like a professional dancer or a performance artist?
I'm more of a performance artist. I would like to become a professional later in my career, but I'm just continuing to dance and see where that takes me. His issues and how that brought me to this place, and how he was considering suicide, and how I just had to deal with that and figure out what was going on and help him get better and connect with other people so I myself could feel better about it.
So you're saying there's something people you knew, or is there something deep within you that happened to you?
It's mostly with my brother, but it affected me. It affected my family. I told my friends, and they were supportive, but I find through this project I can connect with them at a deeper level through dancing, through acting, and singing and music.
Now, a particular movement that you contribute, does it like evoke a certain emotion or a certain memory about your brother or yourself that's pretty much affecting you?
It evokes some anger, some bittersweet emotions, some sadness.
an email from my friend with Samantha's ad, and it sounded like an exceptionally challenging project, but also a great opportunity to do something that carried the potential for a very positive action within the arts, which is sometimes difficult to find, it seems. And Samantha took me on almost without an audition. I was driving.
Good boy. Good boy. You found it. Good boy.
Your needs with the whole idea of what suicide is.
Myself, included in the rest of the cast, we all have our own stories. I don't know of too many people who haven't been touched somehow, some way by suicide, whether it's a personal experience, which is my case, a friend, which is my case.
Now, how do you see yourself in the future after this piece? Would you like the group, Sam's group, to travel, or would you like to form your own group, or?
The answer is yes.
Yes.
All of the above.
Okay.
I want to see Sam flourish and get good, strong, solid footing, and I think this project is very, very important because mental illness is a very hidden and taboo disability. Because so many people feel like it's attitudinal and just buck up and deal with it and go on with your life, and you're just being selfish. And I can go on with all the cliche sentences that I've heard over the years. And quite frankly, I feel like having depression is more disabling than being partially sighted. So I think that her project is super important, and I think that mental illness is gaining more press coverage lately. There's more campaigns out there and organizations bringing it to the front of our view, bringing it to closer up to home.
One of them that I've noticed. However, I do notice, and it's unusual with elementary school kids to not be very, very sure. That's a really odd thing. As you get to intermediate and middle school
Yeah,
kids.
I'm also a big fan of classical music, and I think that's why Sam called me up. It's because she knew I was interested in somehow combining classical music with rock music. So I thought this would be an interesting opportunity, taking Mozart's Requiem and doing sort of a rock version. So she had a composer already break out the parts for us. He already did all the reductions. So, but he didn't really have a drum part scored out. So I at least got to come up with my own drum part, which is cool. But it's gotten my wheels turning on some other things that I'd like to do as well. So I might go in that direction.
So Sam was inspired to do this piece around suicide and mental health, and I myself have years of life experience with suicide, being a suicide survivor, having lost people to suicide, dealing with multiple mental health issues, and being close to a lot of people who are dealing with mental health issues, who are suicidal, have been. It affects a lot of my life, and I felt very drawn to this project of Sam's. And I think that one of the first bits of what is now the Suicide Requiem performance was a piece of mine from one of my first burlesque performances that has been adapted to this overall production. So it was in the production from pretty much the very beginning, related to something I'd gone through, and I thought it was a pretty important issue to share.
Now, what have you learned so far about interacting with Sam's ideas and the dance performance? Is there something you added on besides as well?
Well, we're all collaborating on this project. Like Sam is the director, sure, as kind of her
Off task, which we'll work on after we do this run. So we're just gonna run it. If we absolutely need to stop somewhere, absolutely, then we'll stop. But we're just gonna try and run it, just for ha-has, shits and giggles.
All right, review of order.
The whole thing.
Okay, from start to beginning. Tiara solo role in this, and it's her idea, but we all contributed. The show is pretty much as much ours as it is hers. We're all performing to our own stories around suicide, whether as solos or as part of a bigger piece. You know, we choreograph our own sections. My solo was based on a performance I did when I started doing burlesque, and we co-choreograph different sections in the performance. So it's a very much a collaborative process. And even though Sam is, the person who has the final say to put it all together, it's still at the root of it is us and our stories and our choreography and our ideas. And there were often a lot of times we'll be sitting around talking about the ideas, and someone will hit on something that we all love. Like, oh yeah, we could totally do this. And, oh yeah, that's perfect. Oh yeah, that gives us chills. So it's a group process.
Are there specific movements in the dance that will provoke like a certain emotion or a certain memory within you?
Well, I mean, the entire thing provokes all sorts of different emotions and different memories. It's kind of hard to say like, oh, this bit provokes this specific memory, etc., etc. They all bring up something in me, because the subject matters are close to me. And there's the obvious being my solo being performed to my story, so I have that personal connection directly. But every bit is something I can relate to, whether it's a story that I share or it reminds me of something else, or I could see some part of my story reflected in a piece of choreography, if it's not in words, So I go through the whole gamut of emotions really with this entire show. I don't think there's one piece that's less relatable than others.
It feels like I'm coming back to the roots of metal, which is a lot of where I was, and yet at the same time I'm challenging myself with Mozart, which is really, really difficult. So it's like I'm going to the past and challenging myself with styles that are new for me. I'm not a classically trained musician.